Zenos is one of the villains the Warrior of Light will face in Final Fantasy XIV's upcoming expansion, Endwalker. He isn't a new addition to the story, we clashed with him in the Stormblood expansion, but I do think Zenos is often misunderstood. Many consider him a bland antagonist with no real goals, especially compared to other villains. That's why I want to dive deeper into Zenos' history, his motivation, and what you need to know before Endwalker's release. Zenos Ye Galvus is the son of the Garlean Emperor Varus Zos Galvos. He spent little time with him or his mother. She died shortly after he was born. Zenos was raised by tutors, including a swordsman, and in the Chronicle of Light side story, this swordsman teaches Zenos the unyielding blade technique. However, the swordsman had nefarious intentions. He planned to assassinate the Emperor and kill the boy, but Zenos, only 14 years old at the time, fought back using the techniques he learned and killed his tutor. This experience left Zenos bleak, wishing for someone worthy of his mettle to come into his life. We don't encounter Zenos in the A Realm Reborn story. He was busy subjugating Doma at the time. He killed the strongest member of the Doma Liberation Front and developed an obsession with foreign blades. He was put in charge of handling Alamigo after Gaius' defeat in the Praetorium. Zenos learned of the Echo from Gaius' reports. That's the rare ability to see visions of the past and resonate with other souls. Zenos recruited Ilas Mal Asina, intrigued by his theories of a means for Garleans to use magic like the other races. More on that a little later. It's in Stormblood that we get a better understanding of Zenos' merciless and cruel nature. He removes Grinwald Pyarvenia from his legion for losing a battle with the Resistance, and goes so far as to execute his commanding officer. He personally oversees the assault on Ralgar's Reach, and we see his combat abilities firsthand when he cuts down 2 members of the Scions of the Seventh Dawn. The Warrior of Light manages to break one of Zenos' swords, but ultimately they are no match for his power. He leaves disappointed by the Alliance and the Warrior of Light. Zenos receives a new katana from Doma Castle, the Amino Habakiri. Zenos uses this blade to overpower the Warrior of Light and Yugiti Mistwalker when they attempt to assassinate him later in the story. However, the warrior manages to damage his helmet this time. Zenos discards it and spares the warrior in hopes of a more enjoyable fight in the future.
Hear me, hero. Endure. Survive. Live. For the rush of blood. For the time between the seconds. Live. For the sole pleasure left to me in this empty, ephemeral world. Live!
This is Zenos' primary motivation. All his life, he searched for someone, anyone, who could match him in battle, and no one has come close. But he sees potential in the Warrior of Light, uncharacteristically sparing them twice. He wants the warrior to get stronger and push Zenos to his own limits. We see this side of him again with Fordola. She failed to stop the Resistance from taking Castellum Villadina. She expects to be executed, but Zenos can see her desire to grow stronger. So instead of killing her, he has Ilas turn her into a Resonant. That is a super soldier with an artificial version of the Echo. He'd eventually use this technology that he personally researched and developed on himself. When the Scions of Seventh Dawn storm Castrum Urbania, Fordola delivers Zenos' message for them to come to Alamigo Castle for what he calls the Royal Hunt. When the Alliance storms the castle and the Warrior of Light reaches the Hall of the Griffin, Zenos engages the hero. At last, someone with strength rivaling his own. A fight that could leave either fighter dead. He's been chasing this for years.
Man should fight for the joy of it. To live, to eat, to breed. Lesser beasts snap and howl at one another for this. Only man has the wisdom and the clarity to embrace violence for its own sake.
Excited that the warrior has finally met his expectations, Zenos takes the fight to the royal menagerie, where he frees the primal Shinryu and uses his resonant powers to take control of the beast. After an epic battle in the sky, Shinryu is ultimately defeated, and Zenos crashes down into the menagerie. He lays there knowing he will not survive, and reaches out to the warrior. He says his death will ultimately make the Warrior of Light stronger, and that gives Zenos purpose. But he doesn't expect the warrior or anyone else in the Alliance to truly understand. In fact, he seems satisfied, knowing that this is his end. And even stranger, he wishes the Warrior of Light farewell, calling you his first friend. Elated over his defeat and of fulfilling the role he was raised to play, Zenos raises his katana and slits his own throat. But this isn't the end of Zenos' story. Rumors begin to spread that he didn't actually die in that battle. The Warrior of Light spends a few quests trying to find his body, but it seemingly vanished. Zenos finally re-emerges before his father Varus, but even he notices that something has changed. While his father, the Emperor, is considering peace with Doma, Zenos urges him otherwise. In fact, he wants to proceed with developing a biological weapon to use against the Azorian Alliance, the Black Rose. Zenos seems more focused on the war than ever before, which is unusual. He even said before merging with Shinryu that he didn't care what happened to the Alliance or the Empire. He only lived for the moments where life hangs in the balance. Why does he seem so invested now? Zenos eventually leads an assault on Alamigo with a force so strong that the entire Eorzean Alliance answers the call. Several key leaders do their best to take the Viceroy down, but he's even stronger than before. Zenos now has the ability to use magic, something Garlean bodies are not capable of doing. The Warrior of Light arrives to face Zenos again, and after a battle, kills him a second time. But it's not enough. A crimson aura surrounds Zenos and he rises once more. We've seen this before in Ascians, the timeless cult of beings who can summon primals and possess the dead. This isn't the Zenos we know, but the Ascian Elidibus in Zenos' body. The two fight again, and the Ascian gains the upper hand as the Warrior of Light is plagued by an otherworldly voice reaching out for help. Elidibus would have ended the warrior's life that day if a certain dragoon hadn't interfered. We'll save his story for another time. So if Elidibus is in Zenos' body at this point in the story, where is his soul? Remember, Zenos is a resonant, an artificial super soldier that can use the Echo. That's the very same ability that Ascians use to cheat death. We find Zenos' soul in the body of an Alamigan soldier. He seems to know that the Warrior of Light is preoccupied elsewhere, and hopes he will get stronger for the next time they meet.
And savor every triumph. In the meantime, I will reclaim that which is rightfully mine.
We next find Zenos during a side story following Ystinian Wormblood and Gaius von Belsar. They've taken advantage of chaos in the Empire's capital to storm inside. Gaius is shocked to find Zenos holding a sword to his own father's chest. Gaius seems to know that Elidibus had possessed Zenos' body, but it's clear this is no longer the case. Zenos' soul has found its way home. Elidibus abandoned his body when Zenos confronted him in a Garlean soldier's body. But Zenos has more than just his original body, but also all the knowledge of the Ascians' agenda. Varus says his son doesn't have the will to rule the Empire, and Zenos doesn't argue. The prince says his father's empire and its cowardly weapons are getting in the way of the one thing he cares about: the hunt. His next battle with his very first friend. Another duel to the death with the Warrior of Light. Gaius tries to interfere, but Zenos impales his father, ending his life. Gaius becomes enraged, seeing the man he devoted his life to cut down, and charges. Zenos overpowers Gaius and Istinian before a detachment reaches the throne room. Zenos takes his leave as the Garleans assume his opponents murdered the Emperor. Civil war breaks out in Garlemald following the Emperor's death, when Varys' cousin Nerva takes advantage of Zenos' disappearance to claim the throne. While observing the chaos he caused, Zenos is approached by a mysterious white-robed figure. This is the Ascian Fandaniel, who offers his assistance. He directs Zenos to an ideal prey, the Ascian's primal Zodiarch. Zenos confesses that he's dreamed of the end days of Amarat all his life. That's since reclaiming his body, thanks to the memories left behind by Elidibus.
Well, does this one meet with your approval? Apparently not.
We catch up with Zenos and Fandaniel, now in the body of Asahizas Brutus, a Garlean ambassador who was killed during the Stormblood expansion. Fandaniel says he needs his body and resources to further their goals. Now keep in mind, Zenos shows little interest in Fandaniel, though he does get angry when the Ascian notes he may have, quote, singed the Warrior of White a little. Fandaniel declares his and Zenos' intent is to usher in the destruction akin to the final days of ancient Amarat. Once the Ascian departs to prepare a hunting ground, having Garleans rebuild the palace into a tower, Zenos says he plans to recreate the feeling of his fight with the Warrior of Light at the Royal Menagerie when they reunite. Zenos decides to discard the Ameno Habakiri for a new weapon for his rematch, a scythe. The last we see of Zenos is the man standing among the corpses of soldiers, promising to gorge himself on souls and power while waiting for the Warrior of Light and their final battle to begin. Zenos spent most of his life bored. He didn't really care about the Garlean Empire or the war with the Eorzean Alliance. Almost all of his opponents never stood a chance. Sure, he let some live hoping that they would get stronger, but there's never emotional attachment. He doesn't care about his soldiers, and he doesn't care about his family, seeing as he executes his own father for getting in his way. The only person he's ever had an attachment to is the Warrior of Light, the one person who could stand toe-to-toe with Zenos in a battle. Someone who could bring him to the edge, a fight that could end his life. And that is what motivates Zenos. He's seeking the ultimate contest of power against the Warrior of Light. Zenos doesn't care about what happens to anyone else. The Empire be damned, as he put it. We can even see he only tolerates Fandaniel as a means for his upcoming battle, where he and the warrior can stand atop the world burning and face each other one more time.
While I await you, I shall drink a sea of souls and gorge myself upon the darkened moon. Then you shall come to me, all roiling rage and rancor. And the stars shall bear witness to our final contest.
Thanks for watching this deep dive into Zenos Galvus. We're going to see more of him in the Endwalker expansion, and I'm excited to see the next step in his story. So what do you think of Zenos? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoy story style videos like this, you can let me know by giving it a like. Take care, and I'll see you next time.